what exactly you can expect.
Welcome to PetSounds, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we're here, of course, to talk about you and your music. And I would like to begin with to say that this new album, I really like it.
Thank you.
But it really triggers some kind of like deep thoughts and emotions. And actually, I had quite a hard time to try to channel it down to some understandable questions.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try.
Yeah.
But with that said, I'll start with the most important question. What do you say about Mourinho taking over Spurs?
I don't even know yet. I think that's a big question, that one.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I first, I mean, if you're interested to know, I mean, when I first heard the news, I was like heartbroken because I love our old manager Pochettino, so I couldn't believe it. But let's hope that it seems like there was some kind of unrest no one was talking about in the team. So let's hope we can start getting better because we're playing badly. So we'll see. I can't believe it really. I don't even know what to say. But I don't know if most Tottenham fans were just like, "What the hell?" But yeah.
I understand. I'm Arsenal.
Oh,
just to make clear here for everyone. But
yeah, we should be enemies then. But that's all right.
That's okay. Okay, we'll go on to your music. How is actually your writing process? I mean, how do you write your music? I mean, I assume it's on guitar. But
it's I'm gonna put water down. It's on guitar. Sometimes my writing process has changed over the years, just due to different processes in the studio, and as I've gotten older, gotten more used to collaborating with other people, which I used to hate. So my writing process began really just me and my acoustic guitar in my room, and I'll just play away and just put my thoughts down, and then that was the song, and whatever happened in the studio, but that would be the song. And then as time's gone on, it's been still that happens, but then also to kind of shake things up and turn things around sometimes. I've been shown new methods where sometimes I just play my guitar or the piano, whatever it is, or and then it's just an instrumental for a while, and then I just kind of sing. I just sit with it for a few weeks, or sing over it in the studio, and not even put lyrics to it straight away, and then come back like a month later and try again. And so it kind of has been morphed and changed in different ways. And for this record, it was a mixture of the both. And the way it's changed really is really specific to working with people like Danger Mouse, Inflow. Producers are used to being in the studio. That's their like comfort zone. But I'm more used to playing my guitar and like playing live or writing songs in the moment. And the studio is really was an alien place for me. So it was like a new way of working really. They kind of showed me how to really embrace the studio, embrace how you can use it to find new things, and that kind of changed my writing process. So I guess, I don't know if that answers the question very well, but it's just changed to really a mixture of just writing on my own on the guitar, but also writing as I go fresh in the studio.
you talk a lot about Danger Mouse and Inflow and give a lot of credit to them.
Yeah.
What is it that they bring out in you? Why do you want to work with them?
I mean, well, they're great. They're just great producers. I mean, I see eye to eye with them musically and creatively, and I like their artistry, and so and like they're good. They push you in the studio, but Danger Mouse come up with something good and makes me want to come up with something good. So there's that kind of competition, keeps you on your toes. So I like to work with them because it just makes me. I know I'll get some of my best stuff. Well, I know things won't get missed, and music's kind of art, creativity's for me the way I create anything goes. You just make anything and you make it for the sake of making it. And then there's this other side where it's like it has to either be good or bad. And I definitely need a producer to help me really know that, because I don't care about that as much. And I know I can trust their ear, their taste to just basically be able to create anything. and once I create, it's like you sort out the mess, So I like working with them in that sense because I know that whatever I do will turn into something that is safe with them. Yeah.
Is it fun for you to do music, or is it a struggle on
Oh.
the pain?
Um, it's most of the time it's fun. The struggle is more when um. So I always say, like, with hobbies, if you have a hobby, like, I like taking pictures for a hobby, but I don't know what I'm doing. So when I'm taking pictures, it's like if I get some pictures back, it's like and only one of 36 is good. I don't care. I mean, it's like, oh, that's a shame. I didn't know. I missed that. But in that one picture, I'm really excited about. And then if someone comes along and is like, these are rubbish, I don't really care because I'm not meant to be like this professional photographer or whatever. So it's a really fun creative process because it's like you're really like a child, and that's when music's the best. Is when you're playing. When you start, you don't care. You're just playing, and you're just making anything for fun. And the end, you're making it for the art's sake. But when your hobby, which music was, becomes a job, it's like the best thing in the world. But then suddenly you're supposed to be like good at it. So you make some songs and someone's like, oh, but why are you doing that? It's like, well, this won't work because blah blah blah. Then it starts to get annoying because you're like, well, I didn't make that song for you, or I like it. It starts to become more serious. So I still love it. I always love making music. It's my first love. But the thing that's a struggle is making myself seem like a professional musician and professional singer. Even singing is like, people always because find it funny with singing because it's like supposed to be my thing. But I got into singing the same way I would get into like maybe taking pictures. I had no idea. It just happened to sound alright, but I didn't know it would be good. So I don't even like singing in the shower. So when it's like a gig or something like that, it's like, and when I think too much about trying to be a good singer, the gig goes bad. But then when I just throw caution to the wind, it's like the gig's usually better. So the struggle is that, making sure to remember to like not really care too much and still be like a child with it. And I think sometimes with music, I forget that when it starts getting really serious and you're in these big studios with these big time producers and stuff like that, you kind of get a little bit like, I can get a bit lost in that.
Do you feel you're good at it?
About music? Sometimes, and then sometimes I'll listen to like, I'll listen to like a lot. I watch a documentary on like death or whatever recently, and I'll see them play, and I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. They're so much better. Or I'll see, a Doors clip like, and I'll be like, wow, it's incredible. Or I'll be in the studio and like, Inflow will bring a piece of music in. I'll be like, how the hell do you do that? It's amazing. And then you feel like you don't know what you're doing, and then sometimes you feel good. I don't know. It's I definitely don't feel like a professional, but I think that's a good thing. Personally, I don't know. I think if I did, I'd maybe take it a bit too seriously. I don't know.
When this latest album is a bit more, how should I say, like rough than maybe the other albums. Was that like an idea you had beforehand? Did you have any ideas before you went into the, to record?
Yeah, I did. I had like, really vague ideas. I had no idea what the record would turn out like, but I knew what I was trying to aim for, and the thing I wanted to aim for was something that would be way more like vivid, and I guess the idea for me was like in this, we life's so fast. I always find like I can do like one or two things in a day, and then if I could just do those one or two things, I can do them like quite well, and then it's all right. But with the pace of like how life is, you tend to like have to be able to do like 7 or 8 things, and it really stresses me out. So I'm definitely not a multitasker, and one of the things I wanted to do is like, good thing about things like art or going to see a movie. Really, it was movies that was attracted me to this, was that you watch like a good movie for that hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever long it is, you don't actually do anything else, and you're completely immersed into that experience. And I've had this feeling that music is like always in the background, and music's kind of like you put on when you're having like dinner, or it's going through like some laptop speakers, or you're like on the run, or you're on a run. You're always like doing something, and I was like, maybe back in the day before I was born, music was like, we were in the record shops, like you kind of put a record on, you sit down, And I thought I would love to make an album that might possibly force people to do that. So I wanted to do that to make a record that was really vivid and clear and like immersive, almost like how films are. And I knew I wanted to do that. So I knew I wanted it to be songs, but also something a bit more abstract that might entice someone to just stop. And that's why there's all these interludes and things like that, because I didn't want there to be like the track to fade out and then you've got a chance to, you just kind of keep, or it's the third track, I don't know what number song it is. And I just thought it's a good time for people to slow down, because I don't know, it's just a bit stressful. And then maybe I'm biased because I'm not a multitasker, but I just think I miss slow life, or just like, even if it's not slow, just doing things, but doing things like really present. Because with multitasking, you're doing it, but you're not really doing it. So that was the dream of the album. So that's kind of what I was trying to get to musically.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was going to ask you about the interludes, actually, because I love interludes. I'm brought up on hip hop skits all the time. It's sometimes they're even better than the songs that come on after. But your interludes are quite long, though, because you do also quite long tunes in between. They're quite long. How did you know when there was going to be interlude? Because sometimes I feel that's like a whole song. Right there.
I didn't actually know. I was like. It's funny, when I first started the record, I was talking about it and then we kind of forgot about it. I didn't actually know where the interludes would be. That's kind of where someone like Danger Mouse can get, is a great person to have in your corner, because, I was just busy making the music, and then when I said I wanted to do these interludes, it was like he kind of just went off on his computer and just came up with these things. And and then I'd hear them, and then we just like, I don't know, it's like we just plonked them in places and then saw where it stuck, and like there's one time we did it at the end. My favorite one, but the first one we came up with was at the end of Final Days, which is like towards the end of the album. And Brian was like, check this out, and just had this abstract thing with the speech over the top. And I used to always ask him, who is that? And he like never told me. Oh, I want that album as well, the Link Ray. I've been looking at that for ages. Sorry, I sidetracked. Told you I can't multitask. And and it plonked. It worked there. It just kind of worked. And then we just kind of just to make it work, we'll just like change the pitch into solid ground just to make it, just to stick it in there. I was like, that sounds good. And then from that's when we thought, let's do a few more interludes. And then they were a bit more structured. So like the intro for Piano Joint, we knew we'd already had some interludes. So we just knew that we used to have some kind of thing related to the piano. And I would just jump on, play on the bass. And I just started singing. And we had this crazy idea we had it and it sounded good. It sounded like something from like Trouble Man or something. And then, I remember Brian saying, why don't we just turn down the vocal so it's a bit different? And you had that low kind of tuned down vocal on it. So that's pretty cool. And that's kind of how it worked. It was just kind of like throwing paint at the canvas. It was just all like creative flowing. So I can't actually remember exactly how we did it. We did just like, oh, that works, let's try it there, Man, that was fun. Yeah.
There's a couple of long tunes on it. When do you know when to end it?
I don't really know how to end it. I don't know how I get away with it, but I mean,
because in today, everything, like you said, is so fast. Yeah. Most pop tunes are like, 3 minutes at the most, blah, blah, blah. And then you come up with 9 minutes or 7 minutes.
Well, funny enough, with this album, because with the last one, obviously there's that 10-minute first song. So everything felt short on this album to me. I was like, oh, we got like pop tunes. You just like go as far as your, creativity can take. I think what it is with the long ones, for me, I don't know if I always do that, but you're trying to like chase some kind of like emotion or feeling that you have, and you're trying to find it in the music. So as you're doing that, you're throwing more and more ideas into the pot, and you just try and go make it so like 3D. It just ends up being a bit long because you're trying to eke out as much feeling from that idea that you have, whether it's the string. So you may come up with something and sing. We work with this great string arranger called Rosie Danvers, and she'll come into the studio with a string quartet, or like, I was one point there was like 20 pieces, and you sing stuff down the mic and be like, try this, try that, and it just keeps coming. So you just keep adding stuff because you're like in that creative spirit, and you don't want to take stuff off because you're just having a good time. So I think it kind of comes from that, trying to eke out all the emotion possible from the initial like idea, and it's different to like just writing a song in your bedroom. Actually, I think that's more like trying to tell a straight to the point message quickly. Where this is a bit more. These albums make it working with Brian and Inflow and yeah, and Danger Mouse was like it's almost more like painting as opposed to like writing songs, if that makes any sense. Which is probably why it's so long and vivid.
There's a over to something else, but still about you. There's a lot of discussion in England or other places as well now how it is to grow up as a black kid and a young black kid. I mean, the new Top Boy series is out, the new gang drama, or is it Rap Man's Blue Story?
Yeah.
A lot of knife crimes going on, and I mean, especially for kids growing up in the council estates. Now, what I understood, your parents did not want you to be around that, and deliberately you moved, or they moved with you to like a more middle upper class, predominantly white area in London, in North London.
Yeah,
and it made me think about how environment affects us, and even though I can understand that messes with your identity in a way as well. It made me think that that's maybe a reason why it was easier for you to pick up guitar and you did not become like a grime MC.
Yeah, that's 100, like 1,000%. Yeah, you're forced to think of your environment quick when you're either in like a poor area or if you're a minority. You're just like immediately know its environment quick, because like instinctively you're trying to find your tribe and to fit in. So in the estates, because the thing with Muswell Hill is that the borough that Muswell Hill's in is Muswell Hill's quite posh, but the like similar to like this area, maybe less cool, but it was like same kind of cultural, and people were in bands. It was really cool. But then down the hills in the borough, was this, at the time I was growing up, the second poorest borough in London. So you just got the W7 bus down the hill, 5 minutes, and you're in poor areas, and you either in those areas you either fighting through just to get your environment because it's difficult. So like just getting home is something. If you get home, you've got home. So your environment, and then if you're a minority like me and my brother, we were the only black people, so you're just always looking around and like everyone's so different. And the way we had it was that, and it, I didn't understand because it was like everyone had like 2 cars, their own room, and like computer games, and we had like computer games, but we would have like less games, and me and brother shared a room. We didn't have a car the whole time. Mum and dad didn't have a car the whole time growing up, and my dad was in and out of work. So and then you're going to your friends' houses, and it's like the houses are huge. So you're like, whereas if I grew up in the estates where we probably should have grown up, everyone would be on the same level playing field. So you'd have that identity quick. So even if I became a grime MC, I'd be confident in myself. This is who I am. I'd be able to know everything. But I had this feeling of like, when I was around black people, they'll be like, this guy's weird. He doesn't cut his hair. It's like, it's picky. I have to go. There was no black hairdressers in Muswell Hill, so I have to go down to Wood Green, and then they'll just cut my hair off because everyone got a haircut every week, and I wanted to be like Hendrix, and who's Hendrix? It's all this like stuff like that. So I hated it because it was like I wanted to be around people that looked like me, but then when I was around people that looked like me, they were like, "What you?" It was like pre-woke. It was like no one was like talking about woke and all that then. So. Yeah, it affects your identity a lot, and environment becomes something you think about from like the age of 10, 12. And for a while I thought it was negative, but now as I'm older, I think my mum and dad were geniuses to do that. I think they knew their environment because they had to flee. Well, flee, it's like a heavy word. They use that in like to make it sound big in the papers, but they just left because it wasn't great there. And that's to do with environment, But when you are kind of born where you're supposed to be and things are good, most people always talking about trying to get out. I remember watching like those Bob Dylan documentaries and stuff. Like I just wanted to get out and be. I was trying to get in. You know, it was a different thing, but he was around everything that he understood. Maybe in a Jewish neighborhood, I don't know, but it's like I want to get out and be someone else. And this is what this whole album is like. I just got tired of that because I don't want to be out and be someone else because you're constantly trying to find your own people, your own stuff, and it's a bit tiring. Rather, instead, I want to just be able to just to get up and be like, yeah, this is me. You know, sometimes I listen to, you know, 70s punk, you know, and then sometimes I listen to Miles Davis, and sometimes I listen to folk, and occasionally I listen to hip hop, and I don't rap, and I don't do, and I say my T's, and you know, whatever, and I just want to be able to do that rather than going to different places, which I was doing growing up, and just pretending to be. And when you grow up fitting in, you want to get out. When you grow up not fitting in, you want to stay. You want to just be. I was trying to be in, so that's why this album's called Kiwanuka, and that's what it is for me, is finally getting to a place where you just kind of don't really care, and you just, it's like the anti alter ego album, I guess, and that's through my upbringing, really. Yeah.
And the thing is, though, the things some of the stuff you're saying on your album, or this, you know, your art and stuff, is really similar to what Kano or Skepta are saying, but you say it in a different way.
Yeah, yeah.
And they often, or if we put it, the majority white world in the Western world, they don't find this as scary if it comes from you, because you put it in a different. But when it comes from somebody like Kano, or somebody, then it becomes really scary. It's too black.
Yes,
but
intense.
actually, you're both saying the same things. You're talking about, you know, the things you're talking about, the same stuff.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and I wrestle with that as well. You know, you talk about those skits and like, all those hip hop records. I used to just get jealous of, like, because they would kind of be like speaking to their own people. So, you know, if you go to, well, maybe not now when they break through, but certain gigs you go to, definitely a Kano show, and maybe not now because especially in the UK, he's getting big now. It kind of changes, but you know, he's been around for ages. He's like rapping and singing to the people that that look like him, you know. So, and that was something that I was like, when I started doing gigs and traveling or just playing in London, it was like there's never any black people on my gigs or anything like that. And I was like, I wonder what that is. And then you realize it's just sometimes, you know, and I spoke about it in the studio, and it informs the music, you know. It sounds expensive, you know, if you've got like a harp on there and 20 orchestras, it's like, you can't make that in your bedroom. So it's hard to relate to people that don't have, well, I can't just book. It costs so much money, so it sounds expensive. So, you know, you immediately kind of exclude a certain type of people. So I think for me, it's more me and my, you know, people that come to my shows, it will be more, it makes sense. I don't know why, it just makes sense, and I guess I can say what I'm feeling, and as a young black man, in a different arena, and that's actually positive rather than a negative, you know. And that's what I mean by starting to embrace all those things. It's actually like when you start to just embrace it, everything's actually really good. You don't need to fight as much as you think.
And still, I think, actually, I mean, obviously, soul music, jazz music, from the start, is protest music.
It was
music for black people.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, has almost, not that people forget about it, but it's now people can listen to Nina Simone or Marvin Gaye and just not think about where it comes from or what it meant.
Yeah, exactly.
What does soul music mean for you?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, that's like that era was a big influence for me because I really relate to that. I could hear the instruments, the mix of music, and soul music. Yeah, it's just like music that just makes you feel really good. You know, makes you, it's very therapeutic to me, and kind of like calms me down. Makes me feel excited. Just makes me excited for the day and for life. It's just, soul music for me is like everything. Yeah.
Do you think that music today, like what soul music perhaps meant then, or some other music as well, of course, can it still today in this like fast society you're talking about, where we even have like algorithms deciding what we're listening to, or computers actually doing music? I mean, not in the sense musicians using them, but just like computers, artists. Can will music still have an impact on society
Yeah,
today, you think?
I mean, I think about that all the time, and I think it can, and I think it does. But I think it's actually up to the artist. I think more than the people to do it. So what I mean is, like in this job, it's kind of quick to be distracted by the algorithms, by followers on your Instagram. It's even you even get like a bit obsessed with tickets, like ticket sales. And I think when you get to like that, it's like or t-shirts, whatever, um, what clubs you hang out in and whatever, you you lose um, that artistic drive, and I think your music begins to get diluted without you knowing because you're too busy. Like, I got the new Fred Perry jacket or whatever. I don't know what it would be, but I've got loads of likes. I need to post today quick. Have you done the post? Have you done the story? Have you been on the new? And artists quickly get distracted when they get to a certain stage of first album. Say they get there's award shows. There's so many flipping award shows. So you're doing all these things and like you're just so and it's like people that get big. It's like the first album. They're massive, so they don't even know. When it's like when you get to second album, maybe you're not playing big places or you haven't got nominated for something. Everyone's having a go or tweeting some angry thing about why wouldn't I win this award? I was snubbed, and I think if you're going to concentrate on that, I think the music will decrease. But I think there are some artists that are so music driven that their music gets deeper and deeper, and I think that's happening now. I think for the big, it happens in hip hop. I think Kendrick Lamar's and the J. Cole's, they will always have music that will last for now until the end of time, and and when the people that are fans of that music, it's so powerful, and you see what those people's albums, what they do mean to people, and how it affects society and culture. It's really forward, and you never really see them on Instagram. You never really see them doing selfies at the wherever. You don't really see them red carpet unless they have to be. They're in the studio. They really are just in the studio making music or with their. And I think it's up to the artists to remember, especially the younger ones who are starting. Obviously, I'm still young, but I mean, first albums, just like don't get bedazzled by the thing. And I think in the 60s and 70s, it was like you had to wait till like your fifth album to be seen. So you had all this artistry going up to your working on your craft. Bowie, everyone goes on about him since he died, but wasn't it like his fifth album or something? So he's not going to award shows, and for ages, so they're forced, they're concentrating on the art, they're really doing something. And some bands don't even get through, we're talking about Def, you talk about the Stooges, you talk about the Chambers Brothers, you talk about all these bands, and even people now like Jack White is what Elephant was like their fourth album, it's and that music's still current today, but they were focusing on what was important. And I think, but there wasn't social media. So I think the social media and the lights and the red carpets and the blah, blah, blah awards, they're cool. But I think you lose your concentration and it's really difficult to get back into that space. It's quite a fragile space of creativity where that music comes through you. You can't really be taking selfies and those songs come out. You have to be in a quiet place, or with people that are going to nurture that. So I think music can. I definitely think it can. But it's not people not listening. It's the artists. I think our responsibility to really be stay tuned in. Yeah.
Is that because I'm thinking the way being like you were talking about Kendrick and J. Cole and them, and even you as well, the way of how you portray yourself as a black man.
Yeah.
It's been, I mean, England's always had a mix of culture, the Caribbean, and everything. But it wasn't as outspoken, I feel, in a way, like it is today.
Yeah.
Like then it's more like you became part of the UK or wherever it was you moved to. Now I feel it's a lot of people like you and other people, they're sort of like very open and proud about their heritage and shows off like, can you feel there's a change in how
100%.
For you, it's Africa or Uganda being depicted.
Yeah, 100%.
You had on your cover, for instance, is
like an African king.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was a black artist did that. American guy called Mark Idrick, who's amazing artist. Yeah, I had this story. I was talking with you'll see them today if any of you come to the gig, but Simone and Emily, like two singers that on tour with me. I don't actually think I think they're both like West Indian heritage. But we were just talking about growing up. We're all like in our early 30s. So when we were in school, it was like in black circles, it was actually like, I mean, this is crazy, but you'd like, it was cooler to be like West Indian, so it'd be cooler to be like Jamaican, and so you could like get girls more serious if you were like Jamaican, but if you were like Ghanaian or Ugandan, it was like a joke. So like black people, literally black guys would be like, yeah, I'm Jamaican, but they'll be like Nigerian.
It happens here too. I can tell
Yeah,
you
yeah,
that.
they used to just be, and it'd be like, I don't know why, but now we notice it changed, because now when you say, because it's like Dave and like Afro beats, now when you say you're like Ugandan or Nigerian, it's like the best thing, and so Jamaicans are probably now feeling to be African, but so like, it sounds funny, but I guess that describes it. Yeah, it's definitely way more. I don't know what's happened, but it's definitely people are more proud of their heritage, which is really exciting, and I think it's happened all across the board with art as well. There's a lot more acceptance to who people are, and it's really encouraging. Yeah,
because I would say the jazz scene in England is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
The London
huge
scene.
maybe it's a bit exaggerating, but
No,
there's
it's
a lot
big.
of good bands
Yeah.
that's really, in a way, as well, talking about identity and African, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's almost, I feel, it's some kind of, I wouldn't say movement, perhaps a strong
Definitely.
word, but a bit.
Yeah, I think it's people similar to my age just finally being like, actually, well, we're seeing it around happening, so we're feeling good. So it's exciting. Yeah.
You said something. You think it's to do with that it's more open now in the society. At the same time, it's a very more and more polarized society, and sometimes I juggle between: is it that we're more open society, or is it a reaction to the more political polarized society we're in?
I don't know. I think we. I definitely think. I mean, I definitely think it's better. I'm having a better go of things than my dad did when he was my age. So it's improving. But with I can imagine. It's like depending what side you're on. I mean, it's like. So I remember. I mean, maybe this is like for me, just describing it in my own head to make me understand like that polarization is. We had this gig like a few days ago, and I didn't realize that the venue had two venues, and so they used the same catering area, and then all these people like just started coming into the catering, and I was like, who's they? Who are they? It's like, what? They're just bringing in all these random people to the catering thing, and then I found out there's another venue, and basically I think it's human nature. We get like really protective of our little kingdoms we build, or like our little small worlds. So right now, what it is obviously in the UK, obviously Brexit, all that stuff. In England, people are like, you get comfortable and then it gets challenged, and so you fight back. That's the polarization. So that seems loud and it's happening, but the reason why it's happening is because there's progress in that. So I think it's definitely progressing. There is of course polarization, but I think you have to go through this little fight bit in order for it to really be completed. And I guess I tell that story because that's just a small way of doing it. It's like they're free to use that canteen. I mean, who am I to be like, who are you? I mean, it's not really, but we naturally just get caught up because we build our little kingdoms, our house or whatever, and I think that's just being challenged by definitely in the UK. I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but definitely in the UK, that's what's going on. Not much more people who have come over starting to being able to earn a living, being able to buy a property, being able to start businesses, and it's a threat to some people, Yeah.
Back to this, because you deal with that a lot, the identity questions, which we actually talked about a lot now. But you said something, you come to terms with certain things.
Yeah.
What is it that you come to terms with for this album that we can hear now?
Yeah. I think musically being an artist, I've come to terms with that. Rather than like being scared or having that imposter syndrome, I decided to just embrace it. I think that's the main thing I've come to terms with. Yeah, I guess third album, I better do that now. Yeah.
Okay, I think I have some questions here from some people in the audience. And then it's, if somebody has some questions as well, it's free. I'll give my microphone to whoever. But I'll start. We had some beforehand from I don't know if they're here now. Jennifer and Nina, if they perhaps are.
Hey.
There we have.
Hi.
Would you like to ask your questions yourself? Okay, I'll do it. One of the questions is, what is your first recollection of music as a child?
Oh, cool. Cool question. Well, my first ever was probably like in the house. My mum and dad didn't listen to that much music, just actually because we broke the record player. Me and my brother. But they had this cassette of this band from Uganda called Afrigo, which was like a 5-piece band from the 70s. And every time like aunties and uncles would come around, they'll just like put that on. So that was like early on, and then that was fun. And then my mum we had a little Sony radio. It's still there actually. It still works. The tape deck doesn't work, but the tuner still works. We still use it. And she had like 4 tapes. She had like Andrew Lloyd Webber, Best of, I think, ABBA Gold, Neil Diamond, Best of, and then I think that was it. And we basically just that was our choice of music until like 13 when my brother started buying this music. So those are my earliest memories of like listening to music. Yeah.
They actually had a follow-up on that question. What would you say it brings to your sound today?
Yeah. Well, I hope Afrigo, the rhythms and stuff. I mean, that was like pop music for the 70s, Ugandan pop music. But I mean, ABBA, those were great tunes. You know, so hopefully hopefully I can write as good melodies as them. Like, those melodies are amazing. Neil Diamond, I don't know how much Neil Diamond I have in there, but I do like Forever in Blue Jeans. That's a good song. I used to think that was Reverend Blue Jeans. I didn't know that. I couldn't hear. And then Angelo Webber, I hope there's not that much of that in my music. Yeah, no disrespect to
yeah. They had one more question. Which one of your songs would you say you're most emotionally invested in?
Oh, wow. That's a nice question. I think you know what? Listening I don't really listen to my music, but if a song comes on, like today I walked in and they were playing the album, but obviously Black Man in the White World, emotionally invested to it. I'm really proud of that song musically and just the sound of it. I always wanted to, I never knew I could write a song like that, production wise and strings and stuff. I love that. I love how that came out. I love the video and stuff. So probably that as a piece of art. But playing live, I think probably it would be, I really like to sing like Love and Hate. Yeah, and there's this new song on the new album I like singing at the minute called Light, which is on the new album. Quite like that one. I always kind of like the acoustic ones, so I'm more used to that.
Yeah. Jorge had a question as well beforehand. I don't know if Jorge is here, but I'll read it out loud. Yeah. What is the best part of being a musician?
Oh man, other than the music itself, I mean, like when you feel like you've come up to something good in the studio, like a song, it's like the highest buzz. It's amazing. But in terms of like a working musician, the traveling is amazing. You know, getting to see all these cities, all these places every day. Like we're on a European tour now, and every morning you wake up in a new city. It's pretty cool. And you can get up, go for a walk. Today I woke up, actually walked past here and discovered the area a bit. And that's really amazing. And then like, yeah, playing when you're on stage and if like it's really happening, you know, because my gigs are a bit different each night. There's some improvisation sometimes, and so you're really in the moment. So when you capture a good moment on stage, it's pretty exciting. So those would be the best things about it for me.
Okay, and Jorge had another question. I don't know if he's an aspiring musician or industry person. He said, if you could change something about the industry, what would it be?
Social media, yeah, it would be social media. As much as it can be good as well. I feel like I was talking about this every day. I feel like, man, actually you can suffer from it not just through like your mental state and being obsessed with likes, but you remember like when you would, I mean, I guess we're all of a certain age. I remember when like the Strokes came out and you just didn't know anything about. I was like 13 or something, and you didn't know anything about them. You had the CD if you bought the CD, or like you burnt the CD. Obviously, when you were 13, CDs were way overpriced then. and you just had a couple pictures and the music videos on TV. So there was all this like mystery around it. So when you got to go to a gig, it was like so exciting because you're like that you're actually going to see them in the flesh. You would like, I wonder what it was. You know, you had a few pictures. You didn't really have anything, so it's almost like the music became way more 3D because it was like so special. And I think the internet is great because now I can hear, like, I can make playlists, I can hear music so quick. But it's almost like it's harder for artists to get audiences to hear their music because it's so visual now. And I think that's the internet. So I think if I could change anything, it would be social media, just because I miss those, like with the white stripes. It was like, who are they? Are they sisters? Are they brothers? Are they together? Like, it was exciting, and like, that mystery is, you can be creative with that. So it's another way of creativity that, and even working with Dangerous, he started at a time where it still wasn't that. So he was able to create this thing, and it's fun, It's like, so yeah, I wish that wasn't there as much.
So we can assume you don't handle your social media
I
accounts.
do my Instagram. Yeah. But I do my Instagram, but I was forced to. There was like, I had to give it to. I had to give the password to someone who's really nice, but I wasn't posting when the album's coming out. It was like, you're missing all these posts, so I had to give it out. Okay. So we share it with someone that does it properly. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? No, whatever. Okay, we have enough for.
Hi.
And then we actually have to.
Hi.
He's going to sign records as well.
Hi.
Hi.
What up?
How's it going?
I'm very happy to see you.
Good to see you too.
So my question is about the video for Black Man in a White Woman.
Yeah.
I love it. I truly will.
Yeah.
I will hopefully one day ask for permission to exhibit it, because I really see it like in an art space.
That'd be amazing.
In an installation. Yeah. But just, I want to know the process of the video. Like, can you just tell me more?
Well, that's my favorite video I've ever been part of. I mean, I'm not in the video, but the process was interesting because there was like, the album was getting finished, and then there was this all these amazing videos started. I remember seeing that Flying Lotus video for Until the Quiet Comes. There's a song by Khalil Joseph, and it just like, that video was like, whoa! It's like changing music videos. That's where like the internet's good. I mean, videos have been sick, and I was like, oh, I want to be in a video like that, but I don't think I would. I don't really look like I'm from, Inglewood. So I was like, I don't want to be in it. So I remember asking the label, I was like, I got this song, Black Man in the White World, and it was going to be the first single, and we were talking about videos. I was like, can we try and get Khalil Joseph to do it? And he was like, didn't want to do it, was too busy. Then they mentioned Hero Murai, and funny enough, I'd seen his video with, I believe he did the one with Flying Lotus, Kendrick Lamar, the one in the funeral parlor, and there's the two dancers and they come out. It's a Flying Lotus song that features Kendrick. I can't remember the name of the song, but he did that one. It's an amazing video, and it was like, I felt like they were part of this new wave of videos. So we got in touch with him and sent him the song, and he said yeah, and I was like, oh man, he said yeah, and this guy's like a genius. So this is my biggest regret with this, was like, they were filming it in December, like maybe it must have been 3 years ago, and I just said I don't want to be in the video, and we would talk on email, and he's like, that's cool. But I don't really like LA, so I was like, I'm not gonna go to the video. So, which was so stupid, man. I should have I would have got to hang out like 2 days with one of the best ever filmmakers, like directors in the world. But I was like, LA, but what he did, which was amazing, he would write, I'm auditioning the kids. So, there's the kids. So he auditioned the kid, and he's like, sent me about 3 different videos, and he's like, I think I'm gonna go for this guy. This guy called Jashai Johnson. And I was like, he's amazing. There's like it's on my computer still, a little camcorder of him dancing to the song on the audition tapes. Like, yeah, let's go for him. And then he would just send me pics of like the day of shoot. So the way they did the because he flies into the sky, and he was just dancing on this like massive, it would look like plywood box on a crane, and the crane just lifted, and it was like on a string, like it looked like a pyramid, it would have looked like a pyramid with no top, but it was the shape of a pyramid, and he had to like dance on there, and the camera guy was holding it, and the crane lifted it up high above, obviously above the streets, and some of it is when he starts falling, it's computerized, obviously. But he literally did dance like levitating up into the air. He sent me pics of all of that. But we did it all online, really. And that was the process. It was like, and then he sent me maybe 5 different versions of the video without all the effects. So you can still see the strings. You can still see when he was only falling over one block. So you could only see like one block. But he superimposed it looks like he's falling from like a great height. So you see it all crap, and then you see it's one step ahead with the effect and one step ahead. And then by the 6th version, it was like, well, straight away you knew it was going to be good. And then I got the final one. It was like blew my head open, and we put it out. But to be honest, the credit is like that he's a visionary hero. You know, everything that he does is incredible. And you know, people, there's always like behind the scenes. There's always like the geniuses behind the scenes. So you've got like Donald Glover is the incredibly talented face of it, but there's always got like someone behind that's just got the brains. It's like he's a bit like that, like Tonto and Stevie Wonder and stuff like that. He really is like that, you know. So it was a real like highlight for my career to work with someone, you know, that creatively talented and a visionary like that was amazing. So, but I mean, get in touch with him, or I'm sure he'll be fine with having it in your exhibition. That'd be dope. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. We need to end this now. I'm sorry, because he needs to sign the people's been buying records, hopefully, and that you're going to sign as well.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Wow.